Hi guys, I heard this day was about transformation, about change, and about CX. Well, let these be all my passions. So, hello, and I'm really happy that I can share some of my ideas with you. But let me share my screen. Who am I? Well, I'm Els. I have more than 20 years of experience in the field, working with a lot of employees, working with a lot of customers. And now I'm a CX companion. I'm guiding companies towards their change, in their change towards customer centricity. I'm founder of the CX peer-to-peer community in Belgium. I wrote a book about CX. And I'm also a business transformation manager at the company called LQ, who is a change consulting firm here in Belgium. Now, we all know all the building blocks which are important for CX. And 7 years ago, when I started my own company, the questions I got were like, how do we listen to customers? And how do you calculate your return on investment in the CX domain? And what tools can we use to embed CX in our culture, etc., etc.? Or customer values, how does that work? It were separate, let's say, silos, which were necessary to get across to learn, to understand. 7 years later, in 2020, most of the companies are doing some stuff already. But they feel that all those elements separately do not really make their organization really customer-centric. So the typical questions I get today are, yeah, but Els, how do we start? Is there like a magical cookbook where you can see prepare, cook, finish? Is that existing in CX and CX transformation? Another question I get a lot is, yeah, but you know, I'm there alone in my corner as a CX manager. How do I get all my colleagues with me? How can I convince them that they all should change a little bit? These are the two most important questions I get today. But certainly the last one is about individual change, and that's not easy. Colleague of mine and a professor of Lyric Business School said following quote, people do not change because they see the light, but they change because they feel the heat. Now, seeing the light, meaning understanding why CX is so important, that's not difficult. And everybody knows, everybody wants to do better for the customer. But feeling the heat, that's really what makes people change. Now, feeling the heat could mean having a real crisis, losing all your customers at a very short time. Now, be honest. Is your company in that crisis mode? Maybe with Corona a little bit more than before, but let's say last year, were you in that kind of a crisis mode? Did you have that burning platform? Now, look at it differently. Feeling the heat can also mean having the warmth, having the energy to change. And that's how we look at it. If you want to be successful in your CX transformation, you need a company who is fully energized, who is ready for change. Now, the question is, how do you know if your company is energized, is ready for change? Well, we base ourselves on the methodology of 6 batteries of change, which is written by 3 professors of Lyric Business School. And some of my colleagues, CX heroes, say CX is not a science. Well, I'm not so sure. This methodology is really based on research. They have researched a lot of variables, a lot of things that can happen and that are available in companies. And they have researched and made correlations between what's happening with those variables and what is the percentage of success of reaching your goal that you had in mind before the change. And they have clustered all those variables in 6 domains. They call it 6 batteries, and they are batteries that are more strategic, more overall. There are batteries that are more operational. There's batteries more rational, and there's batteries touching more the human and the emotional elements of a company. And you should always combine all those elements to be really energized for change as an organization. So what are those domains? Well, there is, first of all, the strategic direction of your company, the vision and the mission, how you also take into account the trends and what's happening around you in the environment. There is the infrastructure, how you deal with metrics and with dashboards and with, for example, journeys, customer journeys, or energy rooms. There is processes and systems, and also your project methodology or your action planning, which are all the more rational parts. Other elements go more into the emotional. That's your ambitious top team, and not only the fact that they are leading by example, but also, are they a real team themselves? And do they all tell the same story? And is that consistent story? Then, of course, the connection with your employees. How do they work together? How are they connected horizontally? But also, how are they connected towards the top team and vertically? And then the overall, of course, magic word that I did not tell yet, the culture. Is it a healthy culture? Do people feel well? Is everything logic? And does it work well as a cultural organization? Now, what they have researched also, and this is kind of a picture that comes out if you do a battery scan. So you have batteries that are low in energy, and you have batteries that can be really full of energy. What they have seen is that companies who have some red and some green in that picture do not always are very successful in reaching their change objective. So if you only have 2 batteries charged, then the research shows that you only have 30% of possible success of reaching your change goal. Now, if you go to up to 5 or 6 batteries charged, you have 95% of reaching your goal of change. Now, this is an important point of view for CX managers, because I wrote a few months ago a blog post about a lot of CX managers being in a burnout. And they all think that the company is not willing to work with them. They all think that they are fighting battles which they cannot win, and that they have a mandate of changing the company towards CX, but the company is not working with them. Now, what I can tell you, it's not about you as a CX manager. It's not about your capabilities of doing things. It's about where is the readiness to change in your company? Where are the batteries charged or not charged? And if you make this visible, and if you know what's happening in your company, you know where you first need to build up some energy, where you need to gain and embed energy gainers, and where you need to stop the energy drainers before you can go further into your CX improvement. So it's really about working with the positive change energy that's already existing in your company, and being aware, and then trying to change the negative energy in the batteries that are resistance, making sure that the company is more resistant to change. And that's happening in every change, so also in the CX transformation projects. Now you can have different situations. For example, this picture shows a company, and maybe it's your company, where you can do as a CX manager every fun stuff. If you make a proposition of a fun game and of a lot of things to do with the employees to convince them how important the customer is, it's not a problem. But if you say we have to measure, and we have to listen regularly, and we have to have a consistent customer promise, and our methodology on keeping the feedback centralized and making an action plan is also necessary, there it will be much harder in this kind of company to do these kind of things. So before you can do that on a CX level, you first have to charge and fill out these 3 red batteries a bit more before your company is ready for your fully CX change. Now, the reverse can be, for example, that on all the strategic part, it's going very well, But once you come with the people, they just are in their silo, and the leader of the teams do not want to work with, because there's too much work and there's chaos, but there's not a structure or methodology in action planning. So there you are fighting against a battle which is not the battle of people not willing to do CX with you. It's fighting against batteries who are low on energy on these parts. And so first you have to fill out the energy of these batteries, and then you can be more successful in connecting people with the CX ideas. The reverse part of the first example is that your company is totally fan of all customer journeys and dashboards, but once it comes to a top team that really is willing to tell your story consistently and all top team together in the same way, it's much more difficult. So it's not against you as CX, but it's a low energy on all the emotional elements in your company, which you should work on first. And then bit by bit, you can work on with a CX cover on top. So my message, in fact, to you is, don't think your company or your colleagues are not willing to go for the CX change. First, look at how energized, how ready is your company for change in general. Try to fill all batteries with more energy, and then all your CX tools, let's say, will be successful. But if you do not charge all your batteries, you are not able to have a 100% success of your change transformation plan. So as a last quote, I think I made it clear. CX and change, it's not luck. It's not a chance. It's really knowing on what you have to work. And like this athlete, on rehearsing to make it a real skill, to make it a real talent. So the only thing I can wish you is a lot of fun with change and change in CX. And if you have whatever question, idea, or you want to just chat about the energy level of your company, you have my coordinates below on this page. Thank you and see you soon. Bye-bye.